Salvation is undoing. Salvation can be seen as nothing more than the escape from concepts. So you can see that why in some other spiritual traditions use the word liberation, because the escape from concepts is also the liberation from the prison of conceptual thinking. When you're identified with it, when conceptual thinking supplies you with your sense of self, then you are trapped in a conceptual prison. And that is ego, that is unconsciousness, and people don't even know it, that they are trapped in it. So the spiritual realization is through letting go of the prison of concepts, so that you no longer inhabit the conceptual reality, which is what most people do, where every perception that you have is filtered through your conceptualization. When you look on something, you immediately have an interpretation for it, you have a label for it, you have a self-reference towards it. I like it, I don't like it, etc. So there's already, you cannot see without concepts. So inhabiting a conceptual reality, so you have a prison that you have for other human beings because you conceptualize them, and for yourself, because your self-image is an edifice made of concepts. And salvation is the escape from concepts. And this little part ends with these 3 lines. Those who would let illusions be lifted from their minds are this world's saviors. Again, it links in to the word salvation. When you let go of the prison of concepts, when you awaken, in the terminology of the Course in Miracles, you become a savior of the world. Because by embodying that state of consciousness, you help others become free also. Even just by being, not necessarily by formal teaching, although you might do some teaching too. And when you embody that state of consciousness in the terminology of the Course in Miracles, you become as it calls it, you become a teacher of God. That's the term frequently used in the Course. Even though you might not necessarily teach as such, but by embodying the awakened state of consciousness, you cannot not teach. It might not even be through words. It could be through your non-reactivity, through the way in which you relate to other human beings, and so on. Then everything you do is a teaching, the way in which you behave. Even your very emanation, because every human being, every life form emanates also a certain energy frequency. So even by the emanation, your emanation, you would become a teacher. And then some of you also, of course, will use words to teach, so you will, and perhaps even in a formal sense, you might teach groups, you give talks, write books, who knows. But anybody who awakens, even if you're not fully awakened, even if you're awakening to who you are beyond concepts, you're already a teacher of God according to the Course. Now, these are the interesting lines here about defensiveness. When you feel the need arise to be defensive about anything, know that you have identified yourself with an illusion. It is not danger that comes when defenses are laid down. It is safety, it is peace, it is joy, and it is God. So, when you feel the need arise to be defensive about anything, know that you have identified yourself with an illusion. When you become defensive about something, then it will be something that is conceptual. You as a concept or some concept you hold, that you need to defend because you have identified with it, so you are defending your sense of self, your fictitious sense of self. That means you're defending an illusion. When you don't defend, because the truth of who you are does not need to be defended, so to let go of defenses can be a way of accessing the deeper dimension of who you are. And of course it takes you beyond ego, because the defensiveness is ego. Ego is conceptual identity. And then there's one short line here. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. You're safe already, so you don't need to defend anything. That brings me to at the very beginning of the Course in Miracles, before even page 1, there are a few lines that are supposed to summarize the entire Course, and they go like this. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. That's the summary of the entire Course, and the Course is about as long as the Bible. It's huge, but it can summarize in these few words. If you understand what that means, you don't need to do the Course. You might still enjoy reading it, but you don't need it. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Herein meaning knowing this lies the peace of God. I'll just let it be at that. I'm not going to interpret those lines. I believe it's they're most powerful if you just let them sink in. Judgment, again, the choice to judge rather than to know is the cause of the loss of peace. The choice to judge rather than to know. So judgment is applying concepts. And then you have another dimension that Course in Miracles calls to know. And Course in Miracles would say that the judgment is not real knowing. It's the illusion of knowing.